Hmm.
I mean, after I call through it a certain amount of times, I call it, I text it, sequential marketing, you know the deal there. It's gonna lose steam, right?
Oh yeah, that's one thing I've been noticing a lot. I've been looking at my KPIs, and I think you've mentioned it in the past. Generally, your first run through a list is when you're going to get the best results, and then after two or three, you start really dropping off.
Right.
And yeah, I've noticed
But what
that.
do we know? What do we know for certain though out of that list? Let's say you had 10,000 records and you call through it and you reach usually it's about 5% correct numbers, so you reach 50 people. What about the
Mhm,
other 9,950? We're going to slowly convert them, right? Like it's just a matter of time. It's going to take me longer to get a correct number. Yeah. But
mhm,
however, I'm still going to generate correct numbers and it's going to plateau at a baseline. And my correct number to deal ratio is still going to be the same. So I'm still going to nurture that list. But what am I going
mhm,
to do is I'm going to move that data through different marketing strategies to try to get a hold of those individuals. But while I'm doing it, let's just say I throw it in the bulk dialer and I dial through that list one time. I'm going to then
mhm,
pluck out those exhausted owners. And this is where making sure you go all the way through with the data set is important. So my process in my business, as I'm going through those death certificates, there's going to be people who every number I have for them is wrong or dead, right?
yeah,
Automatically, I'm going to say that's exhausted, and that's going to go into my exhausted flow. The same thing's going to happen with my bulk dialing. As I'm bulk dialing in call tools or smart dialer, if you switch over to that, and those phone numbers are coming inbound, there's going to be records at the end of every day, potentially, where every number was wrong or dead or not interested or not really wrong or dead. Right. And so
yeah.
I'm going to take those records and automatically switch the status to exhausted. And I'm going to start doing that. And I'm going to have an average of, let's say, 10 records a week that become exhausted. And I'm going to be digging into those and figuring out how many exhausted owners do I have to reach in order to get a contract. And so you're going to have three things going on in your business. You're going to have your consistency because everybody right now we know over the last 3 months there's been on average 35 people that have died every month in that county. I
Yep.
lost a deal yesterday. One of my buyers messaged me. We were talking about a development deal, and he's like, "Man, I'm tapped out on cash right now. I just bought another property in Blue Water." I'm like, "Oh, cool. What's going on?" He's like, "It was a probate." I was like, "Oh, why didn't I get that deal?" I did some research on it, and it turned out I wasn't pulling a specific list that I could have from the county. I was pulling one type of probate, but not the other type of probate, and and so I had to re-educate myself a little bit on why I never pulled the other one, and I found the answer. But at the end of the day, looking back now, it was a dumb reasoning. And nevertheless, though, now I pull death certificates, but I wasn't pulling death certificates in August of 2022 when that person died. If I
Hmm.
was pulling death certificates back then, I would have captured that, and I probably would have got a hold of that the guy in Nevada that ended up filing a probate before it even got listed with the agent. But I didn't because I wasn't pulling that then, and I wasn't pulling the other thing. So I had zero chance of getting this deal because it was never in my first to market pipeline. But it ended up on the MLS where another investor bought it and it was listed for 360. Guess what the MLS offered on it? 220.
450. Huh?
It was listed for 360 and he got it for 220.
Oh, you got,
Okay.
yeah. Nice.
Yeah. I would have locked it up for 220 a year ago all day long, right? And
Yeah.
so the point is that the consistency comes in the first to market stuff. He that person didn't list the property until this year, right? And October of 2020 is when the person passed away. The same day they started probate the next day, right? He died, death certificate, probate started, but they didn't start listing it for sale until like February of this year or whatever it was, sometime in this month. I don't remember, but I analyzed why I lost that deal and I found two gaps in my business on why that would have never been an opportunity for me. I lost 100 grand, potential
Yeah.
opportunity cost. I don't know, but for certain is the fact that I didn't have I would have never had the opportunity to begin with. Right.
Yeah.
And so, um, this case is coming up tons and tons and tons over the last 8 months where I'm having REISIF customers or coaching students of mine that are having where they didn't implement the first to market the right way and they're starting to see that their consistency over the last, and their lead gen over the last 2 quarters have dropped drastically. But the ones that implemented this Q3 of last year, like they've still consistently been closing deals. They have their process dialed in, and they're throwing in that opportunity data. Because in a year from now, whatever list you pull from, whatever list you ask support to give you, from the analysis I tell you about, with like in a year from now, that's going to be a different list, because the market's
Okay.
going to tap out on the 3-1s, for example, and it's going to start focusing on the mobile homes, or it's going to start focusing on the land deals, or it's going to, just like whatever county you mentioned before, was it start with a B? What is
Benton?
that? Benton County. Do you think 3 years ago that like land was the biggest thing there right now?
No, but it's
No.
crazy. I'm even
See,
thinking of trying to learn land.
markets evolve, right? Depending on the economy, depending on what's happening from different companies coming into markets, schools doing different things. Markets evolve. And so what you want to do is you need the strategy that's consistent in your business, where this many people are dying on average, and I'm reaching this many people, and I'm closing this many deals. Okay. And you can do that with starting off with one niche and then add in the rest. And then you need to take advantage of the market. Just like all the companies in software right now are releasing AI shit, because right now AI sells. In a year from now, it's not going to be the case. But everyone's
Mhm.
hot on the money right now because that's where they can get a bunch of users in, and so on and so forth.